Hello. Welcome back to Harmony Yoga. I'm Julie Farmer, and I consider this a come as you are yoga practice. So feel free to sit up on your block. We're going to gather today to talk about creating fertile soil for seeds of faith to take root. So gathering here, wherever you've been today, it's a blustery day here in Utah. We were out for a walk, and so we're a little wind-blown and exhausted, so I'm warmed up though for my yoga practice. So go ahead and take a comfortable seat, elongating the spine and moving the throat back so the weight of the head is supported by the structure of the bones and the muscles can actually find their proper alignment. Feel free to close your eyes and become present in this space. Now, I don't know about you, but that mere invitation, whether I'm sitting here or whether I'm sitting at church or some other place of devotion, of relaxation, I can start to just feel with every breath my body start to relax. And then maybe you do notice in times of stress or tension that you get a little bit of extra, I've got a little extra tension going on up in my upper back, and so I'm particularly mindful how I can let that go and not start to attach to that. So I'm easily letting that go with every breath. So sitting up tall, letting the breath come in the nose, down the throat, and into the belly. And if you find that you're used to holding your belly tight, imagine letting that puff up with the breath. Like, it's okay. We don't have to have a six-pack ab situation going on right here. We're going to actually relax the belly. And in so doing, you may find your upper body start to relax. Maybe you start to feel your mind relax. So we've got this synergistic thing going on here. So with your eyes closed and connecting with the breath, I want to just share this idea with you that I had, that I have found yoga to be such a wonderful companion to my faith. And like many of you know, I'm calling my company Harmony Yoga, and I have for the last 12 years. I love it because it is in harmony with what you believe and what you do on a day-to-day basis. So I love that the yoga practice actually helped enliven my faith by helping me become more fertile soil for the seeds of faith that are all around us, but a lot of times they just kind of get blown aside, or they're on rocky ground and they just don't have a place to land. So with that in mind today, I'll read to you some thoughts that I had. So how can we be the soil? How can we prepare the soil of our soul? I believe through consistent practice, through connecting to our inner light, and through building our lives on virtue and values. Then we begin to embody this virtue, grounding the spirituality into the body. Each posture moves us in a new way through the exploration of the familiar and the unfamiliar. That's why our practice is always changing, because we need to expand ourselves and begin to train ourselves how to be comfortable even in varied positions. So asana, translated as pose, postures, literally translated into comfortable seated. Asana helps us develop an inner awareness. So in this posture here, how can we find more ease? Maybe moving back a little bit in our seat, grounding our sitting bones down, letting go a little bit. Sitting your hips higher helps create ease in this posture. So unlike calisthenics, our yoga practice focuses the mind, the mind's attention completely in the body, so we are more unified as a whole, and we start to perceive what the body is telling us, because we are the body. We are not just using the body. The most direct way we can learn to let go is through the body. And likewise, it is hard to feel purposeful and focused when our bodies are full of aches or we are burdened with illness. Asana is one of the most direct ways to meet yourself, whether you are on your feet or flipped over on your head. The asanas are a way to explore the body so we can learn and perceive clearly through it. But the asana are not the goal. So we don't say, oh, once I achieve this pose, then I'll be good at yoga. It's a constant exploration. So the question really is, can you sit stand, walk, and lay down with ease. That is the basic mastery of the embodied spiritual life. Today, let yoga reattach you to your body. In doing so, we can reattach ourselves to others and the responsibility of living a life guided by the wisdom of the body. Bringing your hands together in front of the heart and bowing into the wisdom of the heart and acknowledging the body, letting the mind begin to quiet. So this practice today can ground and expand us. Together, as we embody the combination of being grounded and being expansive, that sets us up for good alignment. Feel free to set your intention for today's practice. And when you're ready, lift your head, release your hands, and open your eyes. So one of the things I think about when we talk about being grounded, too much of a good thing, right, is not so good. So if we are too grounded, we can move too far into the earth. If we are too expansive, we can feel a little untethered, a little airy, a little untethered. I guess I already said that. Maybe a little carried away was the other word I was going to use. So we do those two things together. So we ground ourselves, but from that place of grounding, right, we root down and allow that to help us lift and rise, open our hearts and open our minds. So go ahead and remove the block that you're sitting on, place that to the front of your mat, and we're going to start out in a rabbit pose today. So curling the toes under, keeping the hips right above the knees, come down onto the forearms and release the forehead toward the earth. It doesn't need to come all the way to the earth if that doesn't feel comfortable. We're not going to sit all the way back in child's pose, although I would never know if you sat back in child's pose because it does feel really good, right? But this rabbit pose is with the hips up and the forehead released. Allow yourself to feel grounded in this posture. So we take note of the toes that are curled under, the knees that are on the earth, and the forearms, maybe the forehead. Grounding this posture means letting go and connecting with those parts of the body that are connected to the earth. Take a deep breath in and out, and then take the right arm over to the left side and come onto the right side of the head. So just twisting this little rabbit posture. Good, and come to the other side. Left hand over to the right, come onto the left side of the head. Again, we're releasing down to the earth. So if you're holding some extra energy here, see if you can let that go. Sometimes a nice sigh out helps us remember to release in the body. Good, and come back to all fours. Take your toes out to the left and turn and look over your left shoulder. We're stretching out through the whole right side. Oh yeah, even pushing your right hip out to the right, your head to the left a little more. And come to the center. Take the toes out to the right, turn and look over to the right, push your hips out to the left. Staying with the breath here. So if you notice you're holding your breath, you're probably holding tension somewhere else in the body and the mind. But there's no shame with that, right? We begin to notice. We're the observer of what's going on, and we go, oh, yep, that's something I can switch. I can start to breathe and create ease in the body and the mind. Go ahead and come back to center. Inhale, lift the head and heart forward. And exhale, release the head, scoop the tailbone, push up through the upper back. And then shake your head no. Nod your head yes. Let your head hang. Take your chin over toward the right. And come back to center, and the chin toward the left. And the center. Go back now to the cow pose. Inhaling, dropping the belly, lifting the head, That's the big inhale, and then the exhale, release. Let's do one more in that fashion. Exhale, release down. Just like this, pop the knees up off the floor, maybe even step your feet in a smidge, and then separate the fingers wide on the left hand, press down through all the fingertips, and draw the index finger and the thumb toward one another. And then look at the creases of your wrist. Those should be parallel to the front of your mat. So if you need to alter your hand just a little, so that crease, and we're going to start to pull up from that hand, pulling the energy back with the knees bent. Right hand grabs the left ankle and spin and look under the left armpit. Maybe you begin to straighten your legs here, or maybe you keep them bent. You can decide. You can go back and forth. If you feel some tension, just pause here and breathe. Good. Come back now, both hands down. Do the same thing with the right hand. So the creases are parallel to the front of the mat. Press all fingertips down. Draw the index finger and the thumb. They're not going to move on the mat, but the motion, the isometric movement is together. And then pull that energy up the arm, left hand to the right ankle. Knees can stay bent as you peek under your right arm, lifting the hips if you like. Bending if that feels better, or back and forth. Good. Walk your feet up to your hands as you release the posture. Inhale, lift halfway up. And exhale, release down. Inhale, halfway up again. Bring your hands to your hips, elbows to the sky. Push down through the feet. Come all the way up to standing. Nice job. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, come all the way down. Find your block or bring your fingertips to the earth. Release the spine, the neck, and the head. Inhale, lift halfway up. And exhale, release down. Inhale the right leg back to deep lunge. Drop the back knee down. Spin your left toes halfway out to the left, so kind of at a 45-degree angle. Moving your hips out to the left, slowly come down onto your forearms. You can use a block or you can stay up on your fingertips if that's too far. So you've got some options here. Can you see that okay with my leg in the way? So the idea is the hips are lifted. And you can keep that back leg bent, or you can straighten the back leg. Again, going back and forth sometimes just helps us experience the body in a new way. And maybe it helps us find where the tension might be in the hip or in the leg. If you find that tension, pause there, breathe into it. That's going to create the ease. Good. Walk yourself up. Straighten the front leg and push your hips back. You may not be able to straighten that front leg, but that's okay. Bend into the front knee and then move the hips back again. Spin your hips out to the left and then take the left hip back, right hip forward, and extend the energy down through the ball of the big toe. Take one more deep breath here. Draw the energy up the leg. And exhale, send the energy back down. And then step back to down dog. We're going to do that same thing here. So remember, with the hands, we're going to press down through the fingertips. And the wrist crease we want facing the short end of our mat. And then we're going to draw the energy up the arms again. Bending the knees to start. So pushing into the fingertips and then drawing that energy from the center of your palm. We're drawing that energy up the arms, up the pelvis. We start to lift the hips. Maybe the legs start to straighten, and then send the energy down the legs and out the heels. Try that again with the next inhale. We're grounding down with the ball of the big toe and the fingertips. Inhale, draw the energy up the arm, up the spine, and over the hips, down the legs and out the heels. Woo! Child's pose. Knees down, big toes together. Release and ground down toward the earth. Can you feel what you've already created in just these few moments? Come back up to down dog. Lift the right leg up to the sky. Release the left heel. Swing the right foot up between your hands. Drop the back knee down and walk your right foot 45 degrees out. Come onto your forearms. Remember, you can use the block, or you can just separate your, come up on spider fingers and bend your elbows, release your heart that way. You're gonna find a comfortable spot. Remember, we're trying to find the ease in the posture, but not shying away from those tough spots, right? So we're trying to come into unfamiliar poses, noticing how the brain kind of has to surrender, because the brain's like, yeah, I don't know this, I don't know what you're doing here, but I've let go and I trust and I'm going to follow through. And then we find those spots with the breath, and maybe you want to straighten the back leg. You can decide. Deep breath in. Good, and then straighten the arms. Walk the foot so that it's facing the short end of your mat, and start to move the hips back. Try that with me. Inhale, bend forward with the front knee, and then exhale, move the hips back. Now what we're gonna do is lift the toes, press down through the ball of the big toe. That'll help protect the knee. And then just the same way you've got elbow creases, you have an ankle crease as well. So we're gonna try to pull all the way up the leg as if that energy is being pulled up from the earth up into the hip, and then move the right hip back and the left hip forward and send the energy back down through the ball of the big toe. Do that one more breath. Send that out. Good, and bend into the front leg. Step forward, forward fold. And bring your hands to your hips, elbows to the sky. Inhale and rise. Nice job. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, fold forward, fold, fold over. Lift and separate the toes on both feet. Press down through the ball of the big toe, the inner heel, and then really spread the pinky toes way out to the edge and feel the little pinky toe and the outer heel connect down. Bend your knees slightly, move the hips back, and then begin to lift the sitting bones a little higher. So you may feel a little extra tension through the back of the lower legs or the upper legs. See if you can find some ease by either backing off a little or sending the breath into that posture, to that tightness. Good, and then step the left leg back this time. Drop the left knee down. Inhale, reach all the way up. Here we're gonna hug the legs together, hug the arms together. The back toes are curled under. Attempt to drag the back knee forward. And then we're gonna add a twist, and it goes like this. So the left hand is gonna go to the outside of the right knee, right hand behind you. Good, and then take the left fingertips to the earth, straighten the left leg, reaching the right arm up to the sky. So now this is a twisted lunge. Lift the left fingers off the floor and come to a high lunge. Well, that's a challenge. However you need to get there, right? You're playing with your posture. You're being lighthearted, open, and fun. Bending into the front knee. And then swivel the back heel down. Bring the right arm to the right thigh. Dragging that arm back, reaching the left arm over. Moving the thighs back and scoop the tailbone. Beautiful extended side angle. Nice job. Bring the hands down to the mat. Step back to plank. You can always drop your knees or keep your legs straight. Lift the inner thighs, scoop the tailbone. Drag the elbows back and the heart forward as you slowly bend your arms, lowering onto the belly. Untuck your toes and walk your legs out of your pelvis. Rotate the shoulders up and away from the floor. Hug the shoulder blades into the heart. Hug the elbows into the side and drag the hands back. Press the tops of the feet down more. Release down. Press your forehead into the earth. This time, lift your legs, reach your fingertips back towards your heels. Bring your hands down next to your chest, curl the toes under and lift up to down dog. Spin your inner thighs back, scoop your tailbone. Lift your outer armpits. And lift your left leg up to the sky and swing that foot forward. Didn't mean to put on a show there. This shirt's got to go. It's too big. When you lose 30 pounds, you don't always recognize what becomes too big that I need to get rid of. So sorry about that. It's a nice problem to have. All right, so now here we are, dropping the back knee. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, squeezing the legs together, hugging the arms together. Adding the twist, take the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind. Playing around with placement of the head again, creating ease in the posture. And then take the right fingertips down to the earth, left hand up to the sky and straighten the back leg. Notice it's a very similar posture, right? So if this feels better for you to have that back knee down, you can go there or lift the leg. One more deep breath in here. And then remember that challenge of coming up to high lunge. Draw the waistline back, puffing into the kidneys, scooping the tailbone down and then bending more into the front leg. Swivel the back heel down, left hand to the left thigh, right arm up and over the ear. One more breath in. Exhale, release your hands down. Step forward, forward fold. Bend your knees, reach your hands forward, and come all the way up to standing. So go ahead and grab a strap. Go ahead and pause me if you need to go grab a strap. And then we're going to go into a standing posture, standing balance posture. All right, so here we are. Go ahead and place the strap down and step your right foot on top of the strap, right across the ball of the foot. That's important that it does. It's going to want to slide up. If you don't keep the tension, it's going to want to come to the arch. But work on putting it right across the ball of the foot, and I'll show you why. So can you see that? I'm going to choke up as close as I can on the strap. So I'm on my right foot, right hand, and moving the left thigh back. So we don't want, right, that's that over slump. We don't want to be over slumped. We want to root down through the standing leg and allow that to give us that expansion and that lift. This might be your posture, and actually pressing the knee and the elbow together should help give you that stability. Maybe you reach up with your opposite arm. Staying here, or reach the foot out to the front. Staying with the breath here, thinking positive, grounding thoughts, expansive and lifted thoughts, but very, very balanced and stable. Then if you want to go out, you can go out to the side. So I'm hugging with the hand, but here's the key. I'm pushing out with my foot, right? Okay, go ahead and come out of that posture when you're ready. So here's what can happen. If we let that strap go down into the arch of the foot, we really don't have the extension, and then we can develop a little bit of slack in the strap, and we want to keep that taut. So let's go to the other side. So stepping the ball of the foot on the strap, Bringing the handles together and then hand over hand, clutching as close as you can to your foot. Then you can always let that strap slide through. So right thigh goes back, heart lifts, throat goes back, and we're reaching up through the crown of the head for support. Hugging into the midline, the knee and the elbow hug together. And maybe you even counterbalance with the other hand up, out. I could reach back to the wall too. That's always an option for you. So you do what you need to do here. Straightening the leg out to the side. Whoops. Yeah, finding that balance, right? Lifting the gaze, finding something that's not moving. And then you can go out to the side. Extending out now into that strap. Push down, rise up. When you're ready, go ahead and come out of the posture. Nice job. So let's go into a wide-legged forward fold. So take a wide stance on your mat. And let's fold forward this way. And just notice how you feel here. You can use your block. You can keep your arms straight. So folding over. What I want you to do is practice with me that inhaling and drawing in onto the inner edge of your foot. So that's drawing the shins in. And then exhaling from the inner thighs, pushing out and allowing the feet to come back down to the earth. Do that one more time. Inhale, drawing into the midline. So the energy comes up the legs into the core of the pelvis, and then exhale, sending that energy back down the legs. Good, and let's replicate this from a seated position. So go ahead and come down to the mat, and then take a wide seated posture here. So this is kind of a weird camera angle. I'm working the best with what I have, so there's no fancy anything about this practice, but that's okay. I'm trying to meet myself and you right where you're at. So that this leg is kind of out of the picture, but that's all right. So with this wide angle, push into the earth behind you, lift your seat up off the floor, and then aim your sitting bones down toward the earth. Toes are facing up toward the sky, and imagine now drawing in from your heel to the core of your pelvis, and then exhaling, sending that energy back out. Then you can decide if you want to start to fold over or stay upright or even pressing into the earth behind you. So you get to decide here. And I love you this much. I see my daughter is calling with a FaceTime with my grandson, but I love you and I'm going to finish this. So one day she'll watch this and go, oh yeah, that was me. All right, take your right hand down your right leg, left arm up to the sky and over. Good, and switch. Left hand down the left leg, right arm up and maybe even over. Staying here with the breath. Let the breath be the guide. Remember, if you're holding your breath, maybe you need to back off the posture a little bit. Letting that breath easily come in and out. Finding the ease in this strange, contorted posture. Nothing like yoga to introduce you to all the parts, right? All right, so now we're going to come toward the right leg. So the left leg is going to be straight, the right knee is bent, and we're going to come into pigeon posture. Curling the back toes under. Again, you can't see that, but my back toes are curled under. My right knee or my right shin can be at an angle, or my hips are requiring a little more challenge today. So my shin is going to be a little more parallel to the front of my mat. And I'm going to walk myself forward and level so that I'm evenly over both hips. My right hip is not all the way down to the earth. Otherwise it might look kind of like this, right? But I'm sitting a little more upright and level so that I can come forward out of the posture. So my upper body is trying to reach forward and my hips are moving back. And then I can cross my arms and release the forehead this way. Staying with the breath. See if you can let go a little more. And walk yourself up. Swing the back leg around and interlace your hands around the knee. Nice. Now take the right hand on the left knee, left hand behind you. Begin to turn the belly toward the thigh, and maybe you even take your elbow and start to turn this way, but you can use the hand if that feels better. So sometimes, we talk about, oh, once I get this pose, then I will have it mastered. Sometimes we think the end game is what it's about, and it's really not, right? It's not about the end game. It's about learning through the posture. So you're learning if you're forcing something and you come out of alignment to try to get to the end, that's probably the lesson, right? That we can back off that and be gentle with ourselves. Good. Unwind. Place the left knee down. Walk the right leg back, and we'll go here to the other side. So I like to push into my fingertips and elongate the spine. Walk the back leg back a little more. And then once I feel I can kind of lift and flare the left cheek out to the left, so I feel like my hip bones are level, facing forward, and I'm not kind of falling over. We create that good alignment. Then we walk forward and release down. Walk yourself up. Swing the right leg around over to the left side. Interlace your hands around your knee. Lift and separate the toes on both feet so that your legs are active. And then staying here, or take the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind you, and inhale, get tall. So pulling in on the low back, lifting the heart, and turning over to the right. Or you can take your left elbow to the right knee. The belly comes toward the thigh. And then placing your head in a position that feels comfortable for the neck. Good. Slowly unwind. Place your feet down and knees up, coming onto your back. Pressing the elbows down, lift and open the heart, walk your shoulder blades underneath you, and then plant your hands next to your hips. Feet are parallel and hip width apart. Lift your hips up off the floor. Push into all four corners of both feet. Begin to scoop the tailbone toward the knees. Walk your shoulders underneath you more. Release your hips, hug your knees into your chest, and rock your side to side. Good. Grab behind the knees, come into happy baby. So the knees come out on either side of the armpits, or you can grab the little toe sides of your feet. I don't know if you can see this in the video, but if I lift my hips up, my low back flattens. I want to move my hips down and lift the low back. hold down on the little toe sides of your feet or your knees and push up, like the energy is coming up through the hip, or up the, from the hips up the legs and out the feet. But the hands are creating that resistance here. The head is down gently on the mat so that you can find the ease in the posture. So the action's going on in the legs, in the upper body, because you're holding your feet, but we're not rounded in the upper back with the head up. The head is down. Nice job. Release the posture, hug the knees into the chest. Again, rocking here side to side. And the next time you come to the left side, bring your knees with you. Open the right arm out to the right. Turn and look over the right shoulder. Good. Bring the knees to center and then over to the right, reaching through the left arm. Turning and looking over the left arm. Come to center. And let's see, oh yeah, grab your strap again. So we're gonna do that same thing we did from a standing position, but this time we're gonna do it from a lying position. So we're gonna strap up around the ball of the big toe, put the handles of the strap together and choke up as high as you can. And then as you let your back and your neck and your head relax, maybe you need to let some of the strap, depending upon how flexible your hips and your legs are, you may, and I've got long arms and short legs, so I can choke up here toward my foot, but you might have longer legs and you need to let some of that slack come through. So wherever it feels comfortable. But again, the rule of thumb is the higher you choke up at first, then as you settle into the posture, it's easy to let some slip through. Does that make sense? It's kind of hard to choke up once you're in the posture. So now here you are. Take the leg out to the side, just like we did from the standing posture. And if you happen to be up against a wall like I am, I can press that foot into the wall. Both arms are extended to the sides as far as they'll go. So I'm getting a good stretch in the legs and the arms. But we're creating strength here too, you guys, not just flexibility, because too much flexibility, it's like that groundedness thing we talked about. You know, too much of one thing takes you too far that way. So here we are balancing the flexibility with the strength of hugging in on the inhale and balancing that with the lengthening on the exhale. We really find that healthy balance. Now bring the foot back up to center, switch the hands. So now the handles of the strap are in the left hand, moving the right hip away from the right armpit. You can even use your right hand to help you do that. Slowly let the right foot come to the left. And you're going to roll onto the right, or the little toe side of the left foot, and allow this to be a nice twist for you as you open up the right arm, right shoulder comes toward the earth, and you can look over the right arm. Can you find ease in the posture? Release and come back to center. All right, second side. Strap up around the left foot. And to start with, we're going to choke up here and just enjoy this lengthening. So your leg may be a little bit further away from you here, right? You're going to meet yourself right where you're at. And there's no use overdoing it here. So find a comfortable spot and then choke up. Extend up through the ball of the big toe. Inhale, draw in, make the pressure on the strap help you draw the leg up into the leg socket or the hip socket. And then as you extend out, it's as if the leg is getting longer itself. Keeping that action going, take the left leg out to the left, right arm out to the right. So you're stretching through all of the arms and the legs from the core out to the periphery. Draw in on the inhale. Extend longer on the exhale. Good, and slowly come back up to center and then grab the strap with your right hand. Take the left leg across the body. You can decide how far. You don't need to come all the way down to the earth because you're going to get a nice stretch. I mean, shoot, it's a nice stretch just crossing that midline. So I like to go slow here and see, can I take a breath in each of those spots? My body starts to go with me. And I'm rolling onto the little toe side of the right foot in order for the left leg to come to the right. But I'm creating that torso twist by opening my left arm out to the left. Yeah. Deep breath in, clearing breath out. Slowly release, come back to center. Now release the strap, straighten the legs out, press the elbows down to create that lift with the heart. I'll kind of get squared away on my mat here. I know this is a weird camera angle. Palms face down. The back of the head releases, the legs release. In this Shavasana position, we start to notice. So when we are standing on one foot and trying to extend the other leg out, if we can find our balance in that posture, that's proprioception. It's kind of where we are in space, orienting our body in the space around us. Now we're in this Shavasana position. This is interoception. So this is being able to feel what's going on inside the body. Feeling the length of both legs, feeling the expansion of the heart, feeling the freedom of the breath. Whatever you might be feeling, those are just some of the things I feel, but you might feel something different. Your practice is going to have a different effect on your body than mine. And there's no right or wrong answer here. But the idea here is that we've created fertile soil by uniting the mind, the body, and the breath, or the spirit. We've created this unification within. Hopefully we've removed some masks or some barriers or some blocks as that energy moves a little more freely through the body. And in so doing, then we implant some ideas that maybe will take a little firmer root in the soil of your heart. That you are worth the time of self-care. That consistent practice will serve you. And practice even on the busiest and the hardest of days actually is when it is most necessary and most needed. It will feel the best. So letting this practice make you feel grounded and expanded all at once. How can we prepare the soil of our soul? How can we connect to our inner light? And how can we build our lives more on virtue and values and less on the busyness and the counterproductive ideas that surround us? Begin wiggling your fingers and your toes, bending your knees and bringing the feet to the earth, and then gently hugging the knees into your chest. Gently rocking side to side and then coming all the way over to your right side. Pause here in the fetal position. So we're not twisted, we're just resting. Placing the left hand in front of your face on the earth, push yourself up to a sideways position. And then take a comfortable seat just as we began. Bringing your hands to the heart in gratitude for each of you and for the lessons of this practice, for the fertile soil of our soul. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to seeing you next time.